It's Friday, the 13th of September 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes, let's go. Story number 1, Federal Labor and the Coalition have struck a deal on aged care funding in which many self-funded retirees and part pensioners will pay more for their care.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called the Aged Care Act the greatest improvement to the sector in 30 years. It includes an extra $4.3 billion for support at home, which is forecast to reduce wait times for in-home care. There's also new laws to protect older Australians at home. But older Australians will have to pay more, and the deal will save the budget $12.6 billion over 10 years. Both sides of politics have been in negotiations over the past 6 months. Yesterday, opposition leader Peter Dutton said he wanted people to have dignity as they age. Aged care costs the government about $36 billion a year, one of the top 5 spends in the federal budget. Notwithstanding yesterday's announcement, it will keep rising, though aged care spending as a percent of GDP, a better measure, that'll fall. Under the deal, people already in aged care homes or on the waiting list for home care will be exempt.
There is a fair bit going on in Canberra at the moment.
There sure is. Defence Minister Richard Marles said he'd stripped Distinguished Service medals from several current and former Army commanders for failing to prevent war crimes by Australian Special Force soldiers in Afghanistan, though he won't identify those who will lose their awards. The decision finalises the government's response to the Brereton War Crimes Inquiry, which found credible information that 25 Special Air Service soldiers unlawfully killed 39 Afghan civilians and prisoners. Also, Teal MP Kylie Tink's seat of North Sydney will be abolished before next year's federal election. The AEC said a review had unanimously accepted the proposed boundaries released in May. North Sydney will go. The division of Cook in Sydney's Sutherland Shire will be altered to recognise early Prime Minister Joseph Cook and explorer Captain James Cook. Also, Labor scrubbed criminal penalties for seriously vilifying minority groups from its upcoming hate crimes bill. And Labor also plans to crack down on lies on social media by adding political content into misinformation laws before the federal election. That's likely to set up a dispute or at least an argument about free speech.
Okay, on to story number 2 now. Former Qantas boss Alan Joyce took home $3.4 million last financial year, even though he only worked at the national carrier for 2 months, while current CEO Vanessa Hudson had her pay packet cut to $4.4 million.
The airline's annual report published yesterday shows that the board has decided Ms. Hudson had exceeded expectations. Her pay included a base of $1.4 billion, short-term bonuses of over $1 million, add-in and long-term incentive plans, other benefits, $4.4 million, but that was down from nearly $6 million the previous financial year. Mr. Joyce's pay would have been much more, but the airline had already decided he wouldn't receive a $9.2 million bonus after a review of the company's governance. His $3.4 million last year included $381,000 in base pay for those couple of months' work, another $3.15 million in long-term bonuses.
Story number 3, the boss of Nine Entertainment, Mike Sneesby, will leave the job at the end of the month, with the search now on for a new CEO for the country's largest listed media company.
It was a surprise announcement and comes after a tough period for Nine, including both falling profits and share price. Sneesby, the architect of Nine's Stan streaming service, was promoted to the top job 3.5 years ago. Since then, the company's share price has fallen by more than 50%. More recently, Sneesby's been criticised for payouts to a senior manager embroiled in an allegation of predatory behaviour that forced him to launch an investigation into the group's workplace culture. Media is reporting that shareholders aren't happy with the pace of change at Nine, which owns television stations, radio stations, streaming services and publishing assets. In a statement, Mr. Sneesby said he'd made the personal decision to consider new opportunities, and the company's chief financial and strategy officer, Matt Stanton, has been named interim CEO while the search begins.
Story number 4, what do you make of this one, Sean? Regional Express, the collapsed airline, allegedly stole 4 planes from an aircraft graveyard in the Arizona desert, stripping them for parts and selling the rest. These are claims from an American aircraft leasing and maintenance company.
The lawsuit filed by Jet Midwest in the Supreme Court of New South Wales comes as Rex is in administration. According to a report in the AFR, Jet Midwest alleges that Rex took possession of 4 Saab twin-engine turboprops at Kingman Airport, a former military base in Arizona, and shipped engines, propellers and other valuable parts to Australia. It claims that Rex asked that the wings be cut off. They were then sold. Some of the profits from that went to Rex. According to court filings, Jet Midwest had agreed to sell Rex the aircraft in 2019 for $2 million. The airline paid a deposit of $200,000, but didn't pay the rest, requesting more time, citing a loss of earnings during the COVID-19 pandemic. But with no payment made by June 2020, Jet Midwest alleges the sale contract was void. The administrators of Rex weren't commenting yesterday.
Last one, story number 5. Taylor Swift, fresh from endorsing Kamala Harris, has gone back to what she does best, winning awards for her musical efforts.
She took home 7 gongs at the 2024 MTV Video Music Awards, taking her career total to 30 and equaling Beyonce as the most awarded musician in Video Music Award history. The Cruel Summer singer picked up the prizes for Video of the Year for Fortnite, featuring Post Malone, Artist of the Year and Best Collaboration among her record-equaling haul at the 40th edition of the annual event. Swift also encouraged her fans who are over 18 to register to vote in the upcoming US election, though she avoided directly mentioning her endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Friday, the 13th of September 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 business news by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.